I'm going to go ahead with the meeting beginning ritual.
起立，面向佛堂，参加三鞠躬、一鞠躬、再鞠躬、三鞠躬，参加各位点传世一鞠躬，开班一鞠躬，请坐下。Please be seated.
We've spent a lot of time on exactly what the original means, and previously in the last go around, when I went through line by line, character by character, I had people asking, well, can you give us an example of when translations are not done properly, and therefore, we end up with something that's not representing the original. So that's I created a version of this slide. And the situation out there with most of the commercially available translations is that they have three problems. Problem number one, elements from the original get mistranslated, and that's usually due to a lack of understanding. Sometimes it's incomplete understanding. And some of these terms are kind of tricky. You have to be very familiar with history or cultural background to properly decipher some of these terms. Number two, important concepts are skipped so the reader doesn't get the whole message. In this particular chapter, important concepts like spiritual valley being the metaphor, is oftentimes skipped. The concept like the mystic female, the sacred feminine, is skipped. But that's still central to the Tao. I don't understand how anyone translating the Dao De Jing can skip that, but they do. Number three, extra stuff is inserted. These come from the mind of the author, not Lao Tzu, but they are never identified as such. So when you're reading a translation, you are assuming that it's a translation that is translated from another language into your own. So now you can be in touch with the author of the original text in a different language. But a lot of people don't realize that when they're reading some of these renditions, they are not reading the original, but they're reading someone's musing or someone's reflections on the original. So my conclusion, I get a lot of flack for this, but this is true. 90% of everything is crap. This is said by science fiction author Theodore Sturgeon. He's one of the titans from the golden age of science fiction. I read him when I was a teenager. I really admire his stuff, and he said, upon commenting on the overall quality of science fiction literature, he said, 90% of everything is crap. He said crud or crap or trash. And the quote, 90% of everything is crap, is now associated with him. And that's definitely true of translations as well. It's hard to believe. And because it is hard to believe, I feel compelled to bring up a couple of slides to show you exactly, now that you know what the original really says, you will now be able to tell exactly where the misses occurred. Here's a published example. Here's the Chinese original. Where the text is in red, that's an indication that means it has been skipped. So line 1, translated as the Tao, but line 1 says the spirit of the valley does not die. So none of that has been translated. None of that says the Tao, but that's the translation. Line 2 is called mystic female. Changed to is called the Great Mother. So the Great Mother is not the same thing as the mystic female. The mystic female speaks to the sacred feminine, which can manifest as motherhood, giving birth. But that's not all. It's the creative energy, which means that men partake in it too. That gets lost when you use a term like Great Mother. And then the third line says the gate or the door or the portal of the mystic female. It's been changed to empty yet inexhaustible. Well, none of that is in the original. Line 4 is called heaven and earth roots, or the roots of heaven and earth. it's been changed to it gives birth to infinite worlds. So that's been skipped. I reluctantly agree that the roots of heaven and earth can be rendered as infinite worlds, but its Tao is not, has been skipped. So the next two lines, the same way, it is always present within you. Well, that translates one character out of 4. And then last line, you can use it any way you want. That translates the first 2 characters, which is to use it. The last 2 characters means unlimited, inexhaustible, not any way you want. Quite different. So this contains distortions and also important concepts that have been skipped, especially Spirits of the Valley. The flip side of it, other translations will go in the opposite direction, which is to add in a lot more than what is actually there. So that's my other example, where all the red text is added. So the spirit that never dies. Okay, well, you're skipping Valley, but most of it is there. 3 characters out of 4, that's not bad. It's called the mysterious feminine. Okay, bingo, that's actually translating every single character. But then the author goes on with a lot of stuff that's not in the original. Although she becomes the whole universe, her immaculate purity is never lost. Although she assumes countless forms, her true identity remains intact. Okay, great. That's poetry inspired by Lao Tzu, but it's not in the original, and that's not a translation. It's translated from nothing. And the rest of it is like that. If you look at the bottom part here, this is where the author also feels compelled to add even more poetry. Listen to her voice. Hear her echo through creation. Without fail, she reveals her presence. Without fail, she brings us to our own perfection. Now, I have seen people really liking this poetry, and wow, it's so beautiful. Okay, well, great, but it's nothing in the original contains anything like that. So this is what I meant when I say that when it comes to translation, 90% of the stuff that's out there is crap.
Let's go ahead and do the meeting ending ritual, everybody. 起立，面向佛堂，持架三鞠躬，一鞠躬，再鞠躬，3鞠躬，持架各位顶传11鞠躬，斜翻1鞠躬。Well done, everybody. Thank you so much.